So phase 2 of version 2.1 is almost here, which will present us with the banners of Brant and Changli. In my previous video on Brant's pre-release breakdown, the focus was pretty much on his kit deep dive and how to master his mid-air combos. If you haven't seen that, I'll link that video in the description. However, I didn't put more focus on his pull value as a character for your account. So in this video, I'm gonna dive deeper into the kind of character you're getting if you decide to pull for him on your account to easily help you make a decision, especially if you're low on pulls as a free-to-play. So if this video proves helpful in any way, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon because it helps me out more than you know. I'm gonna break this video into 5 parts: the fun factor, his skill floor, his damage potential, supportive utility, and lastly his build. But before we dive into the pull value discussion, I want to clear up an issue that I came across on Reddit. In this footage right here, they are comparing Brant's gameplay from 2 different dates, as you guys can see right here, and another one right here. The difference between the 2 clips is that on the 19th of February and before that, Brant could start his mid-air combos after a dodge in mid-air, but on the 22nd of February and after that, whenever Brant dodges in mid-air, he'll come down from mid-air and perform the ground dodge counter. I could not verify if this is true because I've already completed the trial part of the Old Man in the Whale event, but I don't want you guys to panic just yet because I have a reasonable explanation for this issue. Brant's mid-air attacks are an essential part of his kit for regenerating forte stacks, and it also does decent damage since he scales off basic attack damage. This is most likely a bug because it defeats the whole purpose of Brant's kit. If you go into the gallery right now, this part right here literally says after every flip shot, which comes out instantly after every stage of his mid-air basic attacks, it resets his mid-air dodge attempts, which incentivizes the player to keep dodging in mid-air to chain up his combos. So as long as this piece of text in his kit description still exists in the game right now, if you go into the gallery, this is not a major issue and most likely a bug that occurred while the player that published the Reddit post was playing the game. Now that that's settled, let's go back to his pull value discussion by starting off with the fun factor. This is something that is mostly overlooked by most players since the common trend is if you have meta characters, you have a better account in general. However, the best thing about wuwa is that as long as the character has some utility in their kit for doing damage, they can clear any type of content. And to prove that to you guys, here's a clip of a wuwa creator clearing the middle tower with Shorekeeper, which is absolutely insane. This is what makes wuwa the best gacha game so far in my opinion, because meta is not heavily influenced by certain characters that you may have on your account. Even the so-called worst characters in wuwa can still beat even the most difficult content as long as you know exactly how the characters you're using works and how to properly execute your rotations. So if you found Brant's gameplay really fun while trying him out in the Old Man and the Whale event, feel free to pull for him as long as you are comfortable with playing a character that requires you to press a few more buttons. Which brings us to the next section of this video, and that is Brant's skill floor. What this means is basically the minimum skill level needed to play Brant as a character. After spending hours testing him out during the Old Man and the Whale story quest, I can assure you guys that Brant will not break your account and he'll be much more easier to play with than Changli. As I already discussed in Changli's dedicated guide and review video, she's quite decent in a hypercarry team comp, but playing her as a generic or common sub DPS because of her fusion damage and liberation damage amplification outro buff will be difficult due to her inefficiency with concerto energy regeneration, and that's why playing her in a quick swap team with another DPS character that benefits from her outro buff is the type of team comp that makes the most out of her kit. Brant, on the other hand, does not rely on quick swaps and he can easily be played as a hypercarry with Sanhua as his sub DPS due to his kit mostly scaling off basic attack damage. And while Brant may not necessarily have the concerto efficiency role like Jeji and Yinlin, mastering his mid-air combos, which includes the 2 mid-air charged attacks in addition to the normal 4 mid-air basic attack sequences, helps him regenerate a lot of concerto energy. Following up with his forte skill, which does a lot of damage, is enough to fully fill his concerto energy in case you want to swap to another DPS character. Also keep in mind that his energy regen scaling ensures that he will never run run into resonance energy issues regardless of how you choose to play him, so his liberation is pretty much guaranteed every rotation for you to gain the 20 concerto energy that comes along with it. This means that you can easily run double DPS Brant with another character like Cheshire for example, without having to do any fancy quick swaps, which demands a bit of skill to properly execute. And the best part is that every stage of Brant's mid-air attacks resets his dodges, so as long as you're good with your dodges, vulnerability will not be an issue. Just don't rely too much on this inherent skill because it will definitely not grant you full anti-interruption if we take other characters like Jian and Zhangli Yao who have similar utilities in their kit. And also keep in mind that Brant can easily evade enemy attacks since he'll mostly be in mid-air and most enemy attacks are telegraphed to hit the ground. So, the only skill requirement for Brant as a character is to simply know how and when to dodge when you're chaining his mid-air combos. Now let's get into his damage potential. Brant has a 665% damage scaling on his forte skill called Return from Ashes, which is quite ridiculous for a level 1 scaling. To give you guys a fair idea of what you can expect at level 10, all you need to do is to multiply 665 by 2, which gives us 1330%. Keep in mind that this is not the actual scaling at level 10, but rather a figure to give you guys an idea what you should expect at level 10. To prove to you guys that this is somehow accurate, Zhangli Yao's liberation has a 737% scaling at level 1 and 1466% scaling at level 10, which is almost close to 1474% if you multiply 737% by 2. You can observe a similar trend with Changli's liberation, which has a 610% scaling at level 1 and 1212% at level 10. So I hope you guys get where I'm going with this. Now, this large forte scaling, coupled with the fact that Brant can get almost 3500 attack in total due to his forte, means that his forte skill will hit like a truck. And the best part about his hypercarry teams with Sanhua is that due to Sanhua's incredible concerto efficiency, you can intro with Brant twice in one rotation, which means that you can squeeze in 2 of his forte skills in one rotation, where the first one will be when he's in the aflame state provided by his liberation, and the second one will be without the aflame state before you lose the buffs from your healer like Shorekeeper. I'll dive deeper into how you guys can execute this rotation properly, so be sure to look forward to his detailed guide. And while you're looking forward to his detailed guide, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so that you'll be able to get the video as soon as I post it. Now let's get into his supportive utility. Since Brant provides 25% resonance skill damage amplification from his outro skill, it makes him a very versatile unit because there are many characters in the game that scales off resonance skill damage, including Chisha, Changli, Spectral Rover, and Carlotta. This means that pulling for Brant guarantees that he can be played alongside many DPS characters that we have in the game, and you don't need any fancy quick swaps because, as I said earlier, all you need to do is to pop his liberation, go crazy on the enemy with your mid-air basic attacks, use his forte skill to end his rotation, and simply swap to another character that benefits from his outro skill to do damage. But if you're more interested in quick swap gameplay, Brant mid-air charged attacks and his forte skill will be your go-to animations for quick swaps. So when it comes to gameplay and team building versatility, Brant is just perfect. Now let's get into his build. Brant's signature weapon is not a must in terms of versatility because he'll be the only character that can use it at the current state of the game due to his energy regen requirement. But this is not a huge problem because you can simply use Overture and get away with it. Keep in mind that you don't need all the 280% energy regen to make Brant do decent damage. Just focus on getting 250 energy regen to activate the 5-piece effect of the Tide-Breaking Courage set and invest the rest into crit rate and crit damage. Let me use my F2P build here as an example. I'm using Overture with double energy regen 3-cost echoes. I have energy regen substats on the Lottie Lost 1-cost echo and the 2 3-cost echoes, as you guys can see right here. The overall crit stats at the moment is 63% crit rate on 197% crit damage with 267 energy regen. So what I'm trying to do is to get crit rate and crit damage on either the 4-cost echo right here or the Lottie Lost 1-cost echo to gain over 200 crit damage with at least 60% crit rate, which is what you should be aiming for. With Shorekeeper's crit rate and crit damage buff, if you manage to get at least 60% crit rate on his build, like what I have right here, it'll significantly reduce the chances of his forte skill not critting, which contributes to a significant portion of his overall damage. Just keep in mind that the 280% energy regen by his forte is just bait because he gains 2000 attack from the aflame state triggered by his liberation at 250 energy regen. So you don't need 280% energy regen for Brant to be usable. While he's not entirely easy to build, it all depends on if you want to double down and get crit rate, crit damage and energy regen on all your echo pieces, which is going to be extremely difficult and resource consuming. But as I said earlier, as long as you have 250 energy regen, rest assured that you can clear any type of content, because attack is not only the determining factor in increasing your overall damage. Keep in mind that if you're using him in a hyper carry team, you're going to get 38% basic attack damage amplification from Sanhua and also another damage amplification from your healers, and those damage amplifications have their own multipliers, so they increase your damage quite significantly. Also keep in mind that you're going to get attack from many sources like the rejuvenating glow 5-piece effect, fallacy of no return, and even Sanhua if you have her S6. So don't be hyper obsessed with getting 280 energy regen. I hope this video gives you some good insights on the value of the character you're getting if you decide to pull for Brant. As always, if this video proved helpful in any way, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and join the Discord community. If you're having any issues with the game, or you just want a place to chill or hang out, link will be in the video description. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.